Do you believe in this team yet? Texas A&M goes to 6-0 after yet another dominant defensive performance against Florida. And it wasn't just that they won the game. We expected them to win, but it's how they won it. The defense absolutely slammed the door shut. After Florida started the game hot, Florida had some early success, but after the opening three drives, the A&M defense showed absolute dominance. And the offense, it started hot, lulled in the middle, but it ended very, very strong and played in a way that took all the air out of the game in the closing minutes of the contest. And the depth of A&M showed up across the board, all over the team, especially defensively. We saw players that we don't see very often take on big roles, or maybe players coming back from injury, adding quality depth to this team. And that was very, very exciting because when A&M was down, they were able to throw other players in, kind of wake some of the guys that were starting up, get them to hit that next level of play, and then go back to what was working before. And they have this ability to move guys around, shuffle guys in and out. We saw Le'Veon Moss leave the game. And yeah, there was an adjustment there. But on the last drive, we saw this team fully make things right in an area where they were not doing so well. And that's short yardage. We saw this team get creative. We saw this team do a lot of different things. And it was the kind of performance that gives you a team's identity. This is a hard-fighting team. This is a team that always has an answer, always has the adjustment. And this defense, if it can travel, and we know defense travels, A&M's have a hell of a good chance to do some really, really good things in this 3-game road stand coming right up that can take A&M where they want to go on the season. It's right there in front of them. So guys, thanks for being here today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It helps me so much. It just brings more people into the conversation. We have a lot of fun discussing this team, our opponents. So make sure you hit that button. It doesn't hurt you. It's super easy to do, and you can set it and forget it. Even if you're just stopping by one time, just click that button to help me out a little bit. And guys, thanks so much. I want to talk about the team, go position by position, but really it's this team's forming identity that's really so exciting because I know we've seen the up and down nature of the offense. We saw the defense start the season slow, but we've known that A&M has learned to just find a way. Whatever the adjustment is, wherever this team needs to go, they will take it there. And in this game, we saw the defense completely shut down a Florida offense that started the game really hot. And that was really impressive because Florida had momentum in this game. Florida was making some passes. Florida was finding Dallas Wilson. Florida was finding Vernell Brown. But A&M makes a few tweaks, subs a few players in and out, really gets after the quarterback, and the passing game completely disappeared. So it's really the next step, the then what, the what is your response in a game that is proving to be A&M's real identity. Because we've seen this in so many games. We saw it versus UTSA, where they were down early, giving some stuff up in the run game, clamped that door shut. We saw it versus Notre Dame. You were down 10 points in the second quarter. You end up having a lead at halftime. You're down late in the game. You find a way to win. We saw it versus Auburn. You didn't have any offense. Offense was stalling. Penalties. Defense wins the game. Mississippi State, the dam had to break. The defense had to keep you in it. The defense had to keep you on schedule. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the game, offense finds life. And in this game, it was a little bit of both. We kind of got both worlds in one football game. We had some good offense, some good defense, and at the end, they finally met in the middle. And in that last 8-minute drive, I think we saw what this Mike Elko team really is. Let's set the stage here. Obviously, you get the ball back midfield. Billy Napier opts to go for it on fourth down. You stop them. You get the ball at the 50 with about 12:45 to go in the game. At this point, Le'Veon Moss is already out of the game. He's injured. We're going to wait for an update, hopefully today from Mike Elko. Hopefully it's on the shorter range and Le'Veon's okay. First of all, for Le'Veon's career path, you hope he can finish this season strong. Secondly, for A&M's running back room. But A&M figured it out without Le'Veon Moss late in this game. And it was not the case for the previous few drives. You had a good drive before this. You had the pick. That was a bad play. We'll talk about that. That was a decent drive. But you stalled for like 3 or 4 possessions in a row, and you couldn't get short yardage stuff to go your way. But on this drive, we saw A&M chip away in the running game, commit to it. And it wasn't pretty. It was 3 yards, 4 yards, 2 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards. But what A&M did on this 8-minute drive was go to the plays that work without Le'Veon Moss. They went to the T formation. They lined up Jamarian Morrow next to 2 tight ends, Marcel under center, the 3 of them lined up behind him, the classic T formation. And that team was ready for a quarterback sneak because I don't think many people are ready for that T form. And they're just like, okay, this has got to be a sneak. Those guys are going to come up and push some tush. Ends up handing the ball off tackle left side, kind of isolating those players on the left while there's a big mass in the middle. That was some creativity to get you a short yard conversion without Le'Veon. Further down the drive, You go to the KC end around, which has been pretty solid for this team so far in the last couple of weeks. You had one get stuffed, but out of like the 6 or 7 or 8 now that you've ran, most of them have been for 5+ yards. So you go to that on your next third and manageable, and you're keeping yourself on third and manageables, third and 5 and under. You can work this. You can use these plays. The next one, we saw this play not work versus Auburn. It was like a 4-yard conversion. You go to the bubble. That was the near pick 6 versus Auburn. The team stays committed to what they know is their strength. They hit KC. You get a good block from Theo. You get enough of a block from Bussy out there. KC gets the first down. You work yourself up to that goal line. Again, no Le'Veon Moss. You get stuffed a couple of times. You're only getting a couple yards. You're at like the 2-yard line, the 1-yard line. You throw in an extra tackle on the left side. I don't know if you caught this. Robert Borden was sitting there next to Trey Zune on the left side. So was Theo. So was Borkesher. You just run the toss to that heavy side. You don't overthink it. You just get bodies outside. You get it where Ruben can use his speed, his quickness, maybe his cutting ability to find a hole out there instead of running them through traffic, and you find a way to punch it in. That was all great. To milk 8 minutes off the clock with only 50 yards to work is amazing. It's just like that went to the T. That was to the book, exactly how you would want it to go. Use as many plays as you can. First down, second down, third down, convert. First down, second down, third down, convert. Get the touchdown. But what really stamped in this team's identity was when it was time to win the game, they did it with both offense and defense. Defense had been playing great up to this point. Had already forced 3 fumbles, recovered 1 of them. But the very next defensive play after this 8-minute stretch, after this, game-sealing drive, A&M forces a strip sack. Dayon Hayes rips it out of DJ Lagway's hands, and A&M gets the ball. The game is over. There is no chance of a comeback at that point. You hit the field goal, you go up 3 scores. That is the hallmark of a winning team, because it wasn't going well offensively before that. You had one good drive before that after Le'Veon went down, and it ended with a pick. But then you draw up a masterclass. Major credit to Colin Klein for drawing up those conversion plays, finding a way without your lead guy in that situation, and then the defense comes up big. We need this consistently. I think what we saw in this game that we hadn't necessarily gotten consistently through the other games was we had strong offense and defense within the same game, kind of interwoven. I think we've seen like a quarter and a half of good offense versus Mississippi State. We saw pretty much no great offense against Auburn. We didn't see much great defense versus Notre Dame. You saw both in this one. But in this moment in the game, you saw them both in back-to-back drives. And it should have been 3 drives in a row because you shouldn't have thrown that pick. You should have gotten a field goal out of that one, that previous solid drive that got you inside the red zone. So when you get both sides playing in tandem, that's playoff football. That's football that can win you playoff games. Now, I think championship upside is what we're hunting now, and that'll come by way of the offense finding its ability to be consistent for a game. A lot of that on Marcel, more play calling stuff, we'll figure it out. But I think we're seeing progress in that we're getting these teams, the both sides of the ball, closer to truly meeting in the middle. This is the closest we've been yet. No team has scored 30 on Florida this year. That was a big feather in the cap of this offense, and it wasn't an even performance. It was some early, some late. But that's where you want to be great. You want to set the tone early, and you want to end the game strong. We saw that from the offense. Now kind of just getting into like some overarching stuff. I want to get into this defense and what's been working really, really well, some of the depth we saw in this game. So the game started kind of rough, right? Scripted drives. You get a couple, 3 of them, maybe 15 plays or so. Florida was doing really well on those. They were attacking A&M where they were isolated outside against some really talented receivers. DJ Lagway was throwing some really good balls. We missed a couple of tackles on Baugh. They had a couple of explosive runs. And things were kind of erratic early on for the A&M defense. Des Ricks was getting beat. And I don't think he was getting beat bad. Those were some really, really good plays going up against Des Ricks. But A&M has the ability to do this. And I didn't think Des Ricks was in a place where it's like, okay, go sit on that bench. You're done. You suck. We weren't in that position. I don't think it was something you could have lived with. It was something you could have just worked through. But when you have a guy like Julian Humphrey on the bench, might as well throw him in there to settle your guy down. Because you know Des Ricks wasn't getting destroyed on those plays. He got beat, but he wasn't getting trashed. You let him sit down. You let him refocus. You let him settle in. And Humphrey can go out there and give you some quality reps. And he did give some quality reps. And then you throw Des Ricks back in later in the game, and everything's good. You had much better coverage. You adjusted your coverages. You went way more zone. I know Elko said we're still doing press man cover 1. But we were mixing in more zone. A&M always mixes in zone. There's always some multiplicity to it. It's not always just, okay, we're cover one man the whole time. They just kind of changed the ratio up a little bit, and they just played better defense. Also of note, during that one drive where Des Ricks was getting picked on an island, A&M went for a 3 linebacker package there. You got Scooby back. You feel like you can go 3 linebackers now. Scooby and Sanford can cover a lot of ground, but that really forced Des Ricks to be even on more of an island than usual. I think with maybe less speed on the outside without that nickel there. It's usually field side where Des Ricks is, and that will give you a lot of space to work if you're a quarterback and a receiver. So that 3 linebacker package, I love the idea. I love that A&M can do that, but that's when A&M kind of got isolated. So they adjusted back. I think Chappelle had a great game. I think the safeties had a great game. I think the run defense in this game, how you held Florida to 3.1 yards per carry was, first of all, solid defensive line play, creating havoc, occupying blockers. That's there in the run game, and Albert Regis is just so good at controlling both gaps next to him. He did that all game. But you had amazing run support from the secondary this game. Dalton Brooks was a missile, man. He was a missile in that strong safety position. Bunch of tackles. Tyreek Chappelle was getting a bunch of tackles. Those two guys had a really, really good game running in run support. Those two, go back and watch this game. Those two run so many plays. Marcus Radcliffe was getting in there from the free safety position. You had amazing support from that third level. And you got some physical players there in Dalton Brooks and Marcus Radcliffe, and you're utilizing the hell out of them. And Tyreek Chappelle, he's an anomaly, right? He's definitely corner size. He's not nickel size. He's a smaller guy. Has a knack for tackling. Has a knack for wanting to tackle. And we saw that in this game, and that happens because you're solid up front. Obviously, the linebackers are awesome. All 3 levels of A&M's defense are awesome right now. Sanford, so good. I think the one area this team can get a little bit better is still in zone defense, getting appropriate depth of that linebacker position. That's something that Torrin York actually does really well. I think we saw Sanford not get that correct depth a couple of times and early in the game, and he got punished there. But Sanford makes up for it. Sanford's so good against the run. Sanford punched a ball out for a fumble on Vernell Brown that Torrin York recovered. That's a 1-2 punch from your linebacker core. Awesome to see. You're good everywhere, and it's opening things up for other guys. We saw Bryce Anderson get into the game. He had a couple of drives, this one coming back from that bad concussion he sustained. It was great to see him out there. We saw Miles Davis play safety at the tail end of this game. Dalton Brooks took a bit of a big hit. He looked okay. He got up and walked it off, but from that point on, they went to Miles Davis in that strong safety spot. He supported the run really well. He played really well in his own right. And again, you went 3 deep at corner, which is something we haven't really seen all year. I think it's just time to cycle guys in as attrition and wear and tear builds up. We even saw Humphrey spell Will Lee for a series. And I thought Humphrey was maybe just helping Des Ricks out, but they're like, no, we can rest these guys. If these series are going long and you're going up against a talented offense, you got bodies to throw out there. So we saw Humphrey on both sides. We saw 4 safeties. We saw 3 linebackers. We saw the typical D-line rotation. We saw Landon Rink in there. We saw Marco Jones in there early and often. We saw Dalen Evans in there. So that's kind of lengthening a little bit. We've seen it the last couple of games, willing to go to some younger guys. You're still going to lean on Onyedem, Hicks, and Regis. You still have your 4 or 5 defensive ends that you like. The depth of this defense is awesome, and everyone's playing really, really well. Now, this defense is what gives you confidence going on the road, right? Going to Arkansas, probably the second best offense you've seen all year behind Notre Dame. This team has weapons. This team has a quarterback. Their O-line's playing pretty well. It's going to test this defense in a big way. But I have faith in this defense at this point. I have some belief now. This Florida game was the prove-it game to me. You had 2 good ones in your first 2 home SEC openers, and you were going up against the most talented team as your third try. And that was a team that was feeling good coming off of that Texas game. They established a run. They had some explosive passes. While Florida did have that for a couple of drives, you slammed the door. I think one remarkable thing about what this defense forced Florida to do, Florida had to abandon the drop-back pass. If you go look at their subsequent third down tries after the first 3 or 4, it was all screens, it was all runs, it was all kind of swing passes. They couldn't drop back and just read the defense. Credit to the secondary and credit to this defensive line, man. They are so disruptive. You get pressures from everywhere. Dayon Hayes is getting after it, man. Dayon Hayes is going to complement Cassius Howell as he settles into the year. I think we've seen Hayes really start to level up the past few weeks. Obviously, we're talking about Cassius Howell in that light that we talked about Myles Garrett when he was in his heyday here. Just the individual ability to impact games. He had that left tackle in absolute hell. Number 58, graded 0 on PFF for his pass protection. Well done, Cassius. Well done, Dayon Hayes. Well done, Aggies. Onyedem gets pressure. Regis was running around this game. Hicks can do it. You're getting stuff from Marco Jones and Rylan Kennedy at times. TJ Searcy is absolutely solid. He just, very gap sound, very much in control. Doesn't get blown off the line. Doesn't make big plays, but doesn't, give up a lot of movement. This whole defense is playing awesome, and we're going to lean on that defense on the road, where maybe this offense will struggle. You don't know. You don't know what you're going to get from this offense right now. You've seen both. You've seen really good, and you've seen some lulls. And that might be a variance of if you go 3-0 or 2-1 or 1-2, God forbid, on this road stand. But I am certain that this defense will keep A&M in all three of these upcoming very challenging games. Let's talk about this offense, because as much as it lulled out in the middle of the game, I think we saw some really good stuff, and that includes Marcel Reed. Marcel hit the deep ball early. It was only one. He missed his other try to KC. Maybe if KC's not kind of hobbled with the hammy or whatever he's dealing with, he can get that ball. It was still an overthrow like we've seen from Marcel. But what I saw in this game, and this is evident in the stat sheet, is Marcel's willingness to hit the check down, hit the easy ones, hit the underneath ones. And when he felt pressure coming, he got the ball out to the check down guys. And it wasn't always the right choice. It wasn't always the right check down guy. But we saw that development, I think, from Marcel. We had 2 receptions at least from 3 different tight ends. I think it was 2 each, right? Nyblack, Borkesher, Theo. Marcel was hitting them, and we hadn't seen that to this point in the year. And with what's going to be drawn to this receiver core in Craver and KC, maybe some bracketing, maybe some attention, maybe some safety shading over, you're going to have these available. And you have a really good tight end group right now. I think they're playing really well. I think that was maybe the best blocking game of Theo Mellon-Ostrom's career. He was really good blocking in the game. And Borkesher, again, had a critical block for an A&M touchdown. We saw that 2 times last week versus Mississippi State. We saw it in that Marcel Reed quarterback keeper for the first touchdown of this game. Borkesher as the blocker that Marcel's running right by to score. You're getting such good stuff from this tight end group, and you're going to keep using them. Now, there needs to be some more polish to this. There needs to be more polish to the decision-making of Marcel Reed, but he brings a lot. He's a winning player. He does things that maybe don't even show up in the stat sheet, like just hitting those checkdowns aren't going to be big, juicy, stat padding plays, unless Nyblack can just break a bunch of tackles and go for it. But that gets the ball out, and that keeps you moving, that keeps you alive. But he's escaping pressure too. He had 2 pretty critical escapes this game. One on the corner blitz where he just runs away from 28, makes it a gain of 3 when it could have been a sack if you're a step slower. He had another escape on the left side that should have been a sack. I don't know how he does it, stays a yard ahead of the oncoming defender and salvages it for a gain of 1. Marcel's doing some really good things. Now, it all has to come together. I feel like everything for Marcel just comes down to processing in the heat of action. I think just his decision-making when there's a blitz, decision-making when there's pressure, decision-making when everything's not going according to plan, that's what's coming for him. But I feel like I saw a step there this game with his willingness to hit the short ones. And if that just keeps developing and keeps growing, this defense is giving him time. This running game, this play calling will give him time. Because like we talked about at the top of the show, the play calling really started to adjust to life without Le'Veon Moss down the stretch of this game. And of course, this O-line will stabilize everything. Marcel has so much time. You gave up 0 sacks in this game. Florida forced 5 sacks against Texas, and that's an offensive line going through it right now, to be fair. But that's a very talented Florida front. Marcel Reed's escapability, the offensive line overall, running backs picking up blockers was good this game. That all paid dividends in this one. 0 sacks given up against all that talent, and you dominated the running game. And it wasn't pretty for a while after you lost Le'Veon, but it showed up late when you needed it the most, and it was awesome when Le'Veon was in the game. Le'Veon averaged like 9 yards a carry in this one. Ruben is going to be okay. Coming off that career game, this game, I think we got into some old habits. I think Ruben Owens was going a little bit balls to the wall, maybe making some unwise cutbacks, maybe running into trouble instead of letting things develop or just picking the right gap from the go. We saw it a couple times in the game. A couple of plays weren't perfectly blocked, but I think we saw a couple of bad decisions from Ruben. But I'll say this. Ruben looks so healthy, man. How hard he's hitting the holes, even though if they're not there, but just how hard he's able to hit it. His acceleration right now looks as good as ever. We're going to be okay with Ruben. I feel really good about him. I feel really good about him if he has a whole game to work with and he's the guy from the start. I think we're going to get good stuff. But Jamari Morrow's time is now, man. He looks so good. He looks so fast. He makes good decisions. He's an absolute missile. He gets low. Great pad level for the size. He's a small guy. He even gets lower. And we saw him in the receiving game. Back-to-back receptions on that second touchdown drive. One to get a first down, one on the scissors play with KC to get the touchdown in the left corner. We're going to get some really good stuff out of Morrow, and running behind this offensive line that can block so well, it's going to be okay. Now, we hope the best for Le'Veon. We talked about that already. Let's find out today. We'll see what happens. I want to give some credit to KC for playing through whatever he played through, coming up with 2 critical plays down the stretch of the game, the end around and the bubble for a first down. He was slow getting up. He had to relinquish the punt return duties to Bussy, and I think maybe we had some issues in punt return this game. I think there was one that Bussy let bounce, and it got inside the 5. He probably should have grabbed at the 9. And then there was one that KC let bounce in front of him that he probably should have scooped up, that it rolled inside the 20. I think those could have been game changers in the game if they make better decisions there. That'll be okay. I think KC will be okay. I think Bussy will learn from that. We've been so good in the punt return. We've had some special teams deficiencies this year, surprisingly, but punt return has not been one until this game. Tyler White got a lot better this game. His punts were solid this game. Good airtime, good coverage. That was good. Field goal kicking is so scary right now. I'm sorry, I just don't trust Randy right now. And I had issues with the whole situation, knowing that Zirkle beat him out in camp, and then Randy gets it back because Zirkle got hurt. I mean, where do you go with this thing now? You're probably going to live and die by Randy. I don't know if you want to make that switch again. Is Zirkle healthy? Are you willing to try Zirkle again? Are you willing to throw him back in? I mean, at this point, the shuffle is probably in their head a little bit. I want to hear from you guys. What do y'all think about this kicking game? We got to figure this out. There's going to be a close game coming up where it's going to have to work. You're going to have to make them. I don't know. And that right hash, we talk about it at the call-in shows. SB calls in and talks about it. He's a former kicker. He's not getting his alignment right on these right hash kicks. That's where we need to be scared. We need to center this thing up for Randy. He seems to be better there. Or on the left hash, he's better. Keep an eye on it. This is something that can punish us. But overall, the road ahead, defense is going to carry you through these games. Defense is going to give you a chance in all 3 of these games. Offense, if they give us a B performance, A&M's going to be okay in at least 2 of these, and you don't need to win every game. Right now, the magic number is 4 games, and of course we want more than that. Of course we're capable of more than that. And I'll say it again. There is no cap to what this team can be. You are playing really, really well, and we know you can be even better. You can start faster on defense in this one. Looking at this game as the recent sample size. You can adjust to losing a key guy a little bit better in the mid-portion of a game, and that's a tough ask, right? To lose Le'Veon and adjust to a really good defense, that is a very tough ask. But we feel like there are some things that could happen there that make you better. And the passing ability of this team is just going to get better. We saw it develop. We saw the deep ball this game. They forced it. First play of the game. To my surprise, someone asked me before the game, what are the chances of A&M starting this game with a deep ball? And I said, 8%, really low. They're going to go to what works. No, they trust it. They trust the explosiveness of this offense. They trust the receivers, and they trust Marcel Reed. And I think it's coming together. I think it's getting better and better. You scored more than anyone has against Florida, and that includes Miami, LSU, and Texas. If that's your weak offensive performance, if that's your uneven offensive performance, I think you're in a pretty good spot. But guys, comment your thoughts on the season, on the team thus far. I want to hear from you. I'll drop my Arkansas preview video in the coming days. I have Aggies today coming on to give kind of a midseason reflection on the team. I know y'all like to hear from Jackson Calloway from On3 Sports, Mr. AT himself. He'll be on in a video this week. And we'll just preview this Arkansas game. It's a big one on the road, guys. It's the start of this fateful month away from Kyle Field. So let me know how you're feeling about it, guys. Thanks for being here. Make sure you subscribe, like the video. I'll talk to you soon. Gig 'em.